From the moment I glanced out toward my back pasture, I knew Patricia Harrington had finally gone off the rails and crossed every possible boundary, and honestly, I wish I could say I was shocked. But after years of dealing with her antics, it was almost expected. There she was, dolled up like she'd walked straight out of a Neiman Marcus ad, struggling to climb over my fence while Duke, my massive white Great Pyrenees, sat on the other side, tail wagging like he'd paid for a front row. Ticket to the circus. Behind her. A full parade of people. At least 50 wedding guests were scattered across my property, looking like confetti after a New Year's bash. And in the middle of it all stood Patricia, clipboard in hand, directing the whole circus like she owned the place. Maybe I should back up a little. My name's Tom Sullivan, and for 15 years I've owned a 10-acre ranch on the outskirts of Metfield Heights. When I first bought it, it was everything I'd wanted. Quiet, open space for my 3 dogs, and a handful of cattle. Far enough away from the noise of town. But about 5 years back, some developer threw up a bunch of cookie-cutter McMansions nearby. Just like that, I found myself unwillingly tied into a homeowners association. And Patricia, she crowned herself queen of the HOA. This woman was relentless. She measured lawns with a ruler, tracked the exact minute trash cans went to the curb, and once fined a neighbor $200 because his mailbox wasn't the approved shade of black. Her house looked like a magazine spread. Her hair was always flawless. She carried herself like every day was a board meeting. Then came her daughter's engagement. Patricia swapped her HOA tyrant crown for a wedding planner's clipboard and began bragging nonstop online about hosting the most glamorous wedding Metfield Heights had ever seen. That's when her sights locked on my land. My barn, rolling hills, and mountain backdrop were apparently perfect for photos. She hinted. I politely declined. Repeatedly, I reminded her, my ranch isn't an event space, and my dog's Duke. Molly, the laser-eyed border collie. And Tank, the no-nonsense Australian cattle dog, don't take kindly to strangers. She didn't like hearing no. Suddenly, I was bombarded with HOA complaints about barking dogs, livestock limits, property, values. She even had her future son-in-law snooping around my barn, tape measure in hand, insisting Patricia said I'd given permission. I set him straight. Then came the vandalism -GROOMSMEN, doing donuts in my pasture at 2 a.m. Caught on my security cameras. I called the cops, filed a report. Officer Janet Ramirez, who knows every property line in this county, promised to handle it. I figured that was the end. I was dead wrong. The morning of the wedding, my gate wasn't just unlocked. It had been taken off its hinges and tossed aside. A staked sign out front read, Harrington Wedding Overflow Parking. My blood boiled. 3 catering vans were already unloading on my land, insisting Patricia gave them permission. More cars poured in until my pasture looked like a state fair parking lot. Guests wandered around snapping selfies with my barn. When I called Patricia, she breezily told me not to overreact, that I should be honored. Her daughter's wedding was gracing my ranch. Then she hung up. I called the police again, but every unit was tied up with a highway accident. No backup was coming. And that's when I heard shouting from the back pasture. Some genius thought it'd be smart to take photos with my bull Ferdinand. The groomsmen tried wrangling him for selfies, and that was it for me. I stepped onto my porch, whistled 3 times. My dogs know that signal. Duke lumbered toward the caterers, parking himself between them and their vans until they backed down. Molly zipped like a missile, circling the crowd and herding them back toward the property line. Tank, he locked onto the groomsmen. One growl, and they bolted like kids caught stealing. Then Patricia stormed in, face red, shrieking about attack, dogs, and lawsuits. I calmly sipped my coffee and told her they were doing their job. Furious, she called 911, demanding immediate police. Bad move. Officer Ramirez had just pulled into my driveway. Patricia ran to her, ranting. Ramirez shut her down with one question. Where's your event permit? Patricia's color drained instantly. She hadn't filed anything. She had lied to the country club, told them she was hosting 50 people, not 200, and never informed the HOA. Citations started piling. Up trespassing, property damage, unpermitted event littering. Backup was called. Guests fled. The bride came out sobbing, mascara streaking, screaming at her mother for ruining everything. The groom even tried slipping me $500 to let them take photos. By the end of the day, the police had cleared my land. I filed a civil suit. My lawyer, David, nearly grinned ear to ear, looking over the reports trespassing. Damage, emotional distress, theft of services. Total, 50 grand. Patricia's lawyer argued that as HOA president, she had implied authority over community land. The judge practically laughed him out of the courtroom. My property wasn't HOA land, and even if it was, she couldn't. Just hand it over for a wedding. The criminal charges stuck to trespassing, vandalism, and unpermitted event violations. Her groomsmen got hit for vandalism and DUI. The story went viral. HOA president hijacks ranch for daughter's wedding. The video of Duke and my dogs chasing guests went viral. Folks online dubbed him the wedding crasher shepherd. Within weeks, Patricia was ousted from the HOA board, suspended from her corporate job, slapped with probation plus 200 hours of community service. In court, when the verdict was read, $35,000 damages, plus all my legal fees, Patricia finally broke. She wept, mumbling about how it was supposed to be perfect, while her daughter glared daggers. I can't say I took joy in her downfall, but I felt relief. Relief that finally someone had stood up to her bullying and won. Now, whenever neighbors stop by to thank me, I just smile. And you know the best part? Around here, no one forgets. Next time some clipboard-wielding HOA tyrant thinks about crossing my property line, they'll remember Duke, Molly, Tank, and a certain judge's voice booming in that courtroom. So tell me, was I right to fight back? Or did it all go too far? Drop your thoughts below. Is this community justice or just pure chaos? Asterisk, this story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.